Part of my goal here is not for you to make more complex music. That's not my goal, okay? My goal is to make you into deeper artists, more mature artists with more tools at your disposal. On triad ear training methods, let me just give a little bit of context in what I'm doing here. There's two main approaches to teaching music that have some depth to them, and that's the classical world and the jazz world. Okay, you can't really get a master's degree in rock and roll. Honestly, there's just not enough to learn, to be blunt. But the jazz people and the classical people have both sat down and created a system on how to learn what they do. And I'm drawing from both of them, but the classical people don't really teach ear training that deeply, because it's about reading the notes on the page, right? So we're going to be drawing from some of the jazz tradition of learning. There's a billion ways of ear training. There are tons. We're going to focus on two. There's a great teacher named Lennie Tristano, and we're going to be looking at his ear training method up here first, and then go into Charlie Binaco's. So look at the right column of page 9 with me, if you would. What I'm about to do, I think you should do on your guitar or your piano, at least daily, some of this. You may not be able to go through the whole thing every day, but if you can work on your ear every day, this will start giving you a lot of benefits here over time. So let's just start with a simple interval of a half step, number 1. So I'm going to hit C, and I'm going to play the interval. Play it together. And then I'm going to sing the interval going up, la, la, and then I'm going to sing the interval going down, la, la. I'm going to wait a second, let that get into my head. I'm going to play it again, and I'm going to say the name of the interval. In this case, I'll say half step or minor second, which we learned in Module 6, right? Module 6, a half step is a minor second, right? So I'll say minor second. I'll remember that. And then I'll go back and start over, but use an ever-increasing interval. So then I'll go to a whole step or a major second. I'll listen to it. Let my ear start to become used to it, hearing it out of context of music and just the interval itself. I'll sing it going up, whole step. I'll sing it going down, whole step. Play it again. Name it, major second or whole step. Wait a second. Now, I'll also try, I didn't put this in the notes, but in my head, I want to listen, I want to hear that interval played again. So I'm hearing it, ooh, doo, doo, doo. I can't sing because of my voice, right? But I'm hearing that interval again in my head before I move on. Now I'm going to widen the interval again, so I'm going to do a minor third. Now I'm going C to E flat, 3 half steps, right? So I play that, I listen to it. Sing it up, la, la. Sing it down, la, la. Play it again. Minor third, hear that in my head, widen the interval, major third. Now I'm going to keep doing that for a while to get through all the way up to an octave, okay? Now I'm going to rinse, and when I go to repeat, I'm going to pick a different note to start with. So for now, I'm just going to say A flat. Here's an A flat. I'm going to start with a half step. I'm going to listen to it. Sing it going up, la, la. Sing it going down, la, la. And then I'm going to widen the interval. Does that make sense? Yeah? It's not fun. It's not glorious. It doesn't have that instant gratification that playing a song does or worshiping God. But as I'm moving to the guitar, I would mention to you that practicing your ear training is a glorious, divine act of worship that you can engage. In fact, if you don't engage the Holy Spirit in this process, you're missing half of it, okay? I got some cow eyes on that. On the guitar, it's a little bit trickier, okay? Because creating a half step on the guitar is not as simple off the top of my head. So, Alyssa, give me a random note, any of the 12. D. Now that's an easy one on guitar, but that's okay. So I'm going to start with D. There's an open D, right? 88 Dynamite. It's the 3rd string from the bottom player's perspective. So here's a D. But if I want to play a half step two notes together, I could play a D and then go up a half step like that, no problem, but I can't play them together. So I'm going to go to the D that's on the 5th fret of the A string here. That's also a D. And to get my half step up, I'll use the half step above on the D string, this E flat here. So I've got to do a little bit of a stretch. Okay? It's a little bit harder to do half steps on the guitar. Now, if I do it higher on the neck, the frets aren't as wide, and that's a little easier. So here's a D right here. Here's the E string, double dot, that's E, going back, E flat, D. So here's a D here, and I can get an E flat there, and it's not quite so. Okay, so that's still a half step. Can you see that? Okay, so if I hear that, it doesn't sound so awesome all by itself. Half step. Sing it up, sing it down, and do half step. And then, once you've got that defined, then you can start just pushing it in. There's a major second. Excuse me. Wait, let me do it right. Minor second, major second, minor third, major third. Now do this. 4th, augmented 4th, 5th, minor 6th, major 6th, minor 7th. Now when I get to minor 7th, there's actually an easier way to do it here, is the minor 7th above D is a C natural. So here's a D here. I can also get a C natural there from this D string going down 2 frets. So I can get my 7th like this, my major 7th, and then my octave. So it's a little bit harder. The advantage, though, is for those of you who are beginner guitar players, is this is going to get the stretch going, because we all need to get the stretch going, okay? But there is a couple of cheater things I can throw out that'll help you, because if you start with an open string, then you can let that open string be the string that you need to do. In other words, here's B. Let's say she'd picked B. Here's an open B. There's also a B on the G string right below it. G, G sharp, A sharp, B. There's a B right there, okay? So I could keep the open B, and I could play the C right there, and there's my half step. So there's a minor second, major second, minor third, major third, and so forth. Not quite have to do the stretch, okay? But if you're a guitar player and you're thinking, well, I'll just use Eddie A. Dynamite, Goodbye Eddie, then you're only learning 6 of those notes instead of the 12 slices. So do yourself a favor and do the stretchy thing that I showed you up front, okay? Don't just settle for open strings. Rinse and repeat, okay? Does that make sense? Any questions on Mr. Tristano's thing? So the idea is that you're going to do this. You're going to pick a different note. You're going to keep widening the intervals. You keep listening. You want to go slow. You want to let it kind of sink in. You want the color of each interval to start getting into your being so that you know what it sounds like. So when someone plays an interval, you can go, oh, I know what that interval is. And then when you start hearing sounds in your head, they start coming out. Make sense? Now, the last part of that list on Tristano's method is to do the same thing with triads. So now we can go back to Music Theory 1 where we built the 6 different types of triads and do the same thing where you play a triad and you go, okay, what does that sound like? Let me play it. That's major. You sing the different notes. So here's a C major triad right here. So if I do a C major triad, notice I didn't do the whole chord. I just did these 3 notes. Okay, so that's the C major triad. I'll go, that's C major, C, E, G, and then I'll sing it down. G, E, C, C major. Okay, then I'll go to C minor. C, E flat, G, G, E flat, C. Okay, let me do C sus2. C, D, G, G, D, C. Let me do C sus4. C, F, G, G, F, C. Make sense? I'm kind of going through it a little quicker. Do it with every interval and every triad. You do that for a while, it's going to change your life. It's going to change your music. You'll start hearing stuff and it'll make sense. With me so far? Okay, cool. Now we're going to move on. After the 2 questions, we're going to move on to the Bonaco's method.